And so I think the question becomes, and the question comes to you, is what are some of the top line things we can do to make people want to be with us, even though they may get paid $2 or $3 less an hour, or $2,000 or $3,000 less a month?
Right. Most people want to work someplace that they feel appreciated and that's fun.
Okay.
I know that's not okay. So, for instance, I'm from Seattle, Washington. So, my beloved coach, Carol,
Mm,
is now no longer the coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
yes.
I will tell you what all the players say about Coach Carroll. All the players were like, "You made it fun. We
Yes.
wanted to perform for you. We wanted to not let you down." Right? And that's the thing is,
Yes.
I've always believed there's two ways of leading. There's more, but the two that I'm going to speak to is one is through fear and intimidation,
Mm,
which is very short lived. Those people really are only there for the paycheck. They're only there for the paycheck because they don't need to be. And then the other one is love and guilt. Love and guilt is they love you so much they feel guilty when they don't perform. Give them an environment where they can thrive. Give them
you
an
know,
environment. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say even in sporting, football and things like that, that that difference between how Coach Carroll, 14 years at Seattle, how
Yeah.
he's so successful at USC, but
Yep.
before that he wasn't. And I remember reading him and a couple other coaches that kind of follow along with and read their works. I
Hmm.
remember it was either a reading or someone had interviewed him, and he said it wasn't fun before then. I was
Thank you.
screaming, I was shouting, I was demanding of people, but then he made it fun, but he also had a pretty high standard.
Absolutely. Rise up.
Yeah, it's just
And
like,
that goes to the self esteem.
ah,
I
so
want to be part of this. I want more of that. I want to be part of that. Hmm.
yes, yeah, and that goes to, I mean, something else when it talks about, and I won't spend a lot of time, but I'll just ask you this ideal of paying for people's education.
Hmm.
You have employees and you're paying for the education. That creates loyalty, not just for the job, I guess. So I can think of people who are at Starbucks who are still waiting to become a lawyer with Starbucks, even though there's not there yet. But
Right.
as soon as they get an opening there, they're going to
Yeah.
take that opening and leave wherever they're at to go back to Starbucks to be a lawyer for Starbucks on their legal staff because they paid for their education.
Yeah. I
And I think
think,
that's, go ahead, please.
no, no, no. I think people, one of the opening lines I say to all my clients, and I don't care if they own, a multi-million dollar business or if they have a small bookkeeping firm. Okay. Because I
Mm-hmm.
have,
Mm-hmm.
my niche is leaders and typically women. I
Yes.
love working with women. I love working with women because I'm a life coach. And I know that women
Mm.
typically, and of course, this is not a blanket statement, juggle a heck of a lot more. So I
Yes.
love to
Yes.
support them. But one of my opening questions is, how can I love and support you today? I know
Wow.
that doesn't sound very corporate-y, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go do I don't know, a talk, a workshop for young professionals organizations. These guys are running big companies and they're young and that and I will open it up with, how can I love and support you today?
See, I think leaders should hear that. You may not, there's going to be people out there who say, I don't want to say love,
Don't
but
then.
so don't. I know a coach who also just retired. Every year at the start of the year, he brings all his players get together, and he has each coach come up to him, and he kind of gets them. I don't know whether he told them to do this or not, but they all say, "My job here is to support you.
Yes.
So knock on my door whenever you want to for support. You may not be under my control, but if you need support, here I am."
Amen.
And then this year, his last year, we're talking about Nick Saban. His last year, his coaches really kind of took under that part. I'm wondering if you agree that leaders, because you said it, leaders should be supporting is that another way of saying being the servant leader? I think that's a slogan that we miss a lot, but is that another way of saying that?
Sure, absolutely. And this is a little off topic, but kind of married to what we're talking about. I
Hmm.
have to convince, unfortunately, a lot of my leaders to hire very strong people underneath them.
Yes.
And I said, no, 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 you need somebody that wants your job. Because what's going to happen is they're going to push you, A, to get better, or B, they're going to buy you time. Because they're going to be competent for you to be able to go and have that 2 to 4 months off a year, or what have you, or develop people, or yada yada yada. So having a really strong person hire very powerful people or hungry people under you that want to move up, they want your job. Don't get me wrong, we need the ones that don't want to move up and all that kind of good stuff, but that does not sit right below a leader, right?
No. Yeah.
And your
Okay.
job is to develop people. That is your job. If you wondered if you wonder if your job is to be the boss, under that title is develop people,
Okay.
raise them. And if they love you, and you have an open, supportive relationship, a nurturing, growing, not always easy, guess what? They're not going to backstab you.
You know, you said Pete Carroll, and like I said, I kind of have always been a fan of his and kind of always followed him. His number one thing was to develop people.
Mm-hmm.
He would actually take off seasons to develop his coaches. He would have an interview with him for the next position, even if it was his position. Even though he
Amen.
realized that he's going to lose them to another team. His number one job was to develop people.
There's nothing but good in that.
Yeah, I think so. But I also wonder, because when we talk about developing people and getting them to love and respect you and want to do those things, still the things when it comes time for change is an issue.